everybody. Welcome back to the Damn Yankees podcast produced by Seven Ashes Productions. It is Thursday, April 11th, and this is episode 43.
And we're hoping to get this done before Friday, April 12th.
Maybe.
Very true. We'll see if it happens. I'm Megan. That's my brother Ryan. And down there is our baseball dummy Cliff.
Hello.
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 Hi. All right. The Yankees are 10-2.
10-3.
10-3. 10-2 was yesterday. Right. I forgot about yesterday. I feel like yeah. So sorry. Okay, we're 10-3, and we won a series against the Diamondbacks and the Marlins since we last podcast. During the last podcast, I was watching and just keeping it to myself, I guess, that the Yankees were losing as we were talking. So we decided not to podcast on days that the Yankees are playing anymore, or at least try not to.
Well, because clearly that's why they lost.
Well, no, it was more selfish. I didn't like missing the first 3 innings of that game.
Superstition thing.
No.
No, but they did lose that day, and then they lost yesterday, the day before. Is there something there? No, I don't know. Probably not.
Probably not.
So yeah, they've only lost 3 games. They've shown, so I guess they've won all series that they've played so far. So 10-3 is their first to 10 wins. Because they did it like an hour
before the Dodgers.
The Dodgers did it.
Did you notice that MLB? So Cliff posted his, and then the MLB posted that the Dodgers are the first team to 10 wins. And I was like, what?
They posted in the NL.
They did fix it.
Oh, because I saw them post a.
Did they post the Yankees one
for the Yankees? Yeah, I saw that one post.
Okay, well, so maybe it was just an honest mistake.
Than MLB did.
No, I mean I don't know. If it was ESPN, I would say absolutely, but they
it might have been just it might have just been an initial mistake, but I'm pretty sure I saw it because I looked at it. I was like, "What the f?" And then it was edited to first NL team.
Was by the time I saw it, it said first NL team to 10 wins.
Yeah,
because I did see they posted one. It was it had purple in the graphic for the Yankees, first to 10 wins. But so yeah, we're all pretty happy. They got 10 wins pretty quick.
Most
best
people,
record in baseball because the Dodgers
most people are happy.
Yeah, most people are happy. You can never.
The Dodgers.
Dodgers are 10-4, 10-5, something like that. Or they're
10-4, 10-5. They played 2 more games than the Yankees did, so they must be 10-5.
Yeah, and the Yankees have a better winning percentage, so therefore they have the best record in baseball. So yay, haha, we're best. 12 games in, or 13 games in. Yesterday just doesn't count in my head, apparently.
Apparently not.
Yeah, but so yeah, we've there've been some great
very good moments. Yeah.
What's really great in my mind is that Nestor and Rodon both had amazing starts. Nestor went 8 innings.
Yeah.
Which, talk about 6 innings being crazy, but 8 innings for a pitcher, especially this early in the season too, I feel like is, a feat. And especially coming off of 2 starts where he was giving up 3 runs in each of those innings, something like that. He gave up multiple.
And they were all in the first inning of those?
In the first inning, yeah. And then he just settled in after the first inning of both of those games. I mean, giving up 3 runs in the first. And that was the game that was going on last time we were talking during podcast. And
I wonder if they I wonder if they had talked to him about what was he doing wrong in those first innings,
or how was he preparing?
Maybe preparing, But I was thinking maybe he was doing something different in the first inning. That after he got shelled, he was like, "Let me fix this," and they were like, "How about you just start with that?"
Yeah, why don't you do that to begin with instead of maybe
that
could possibly.
I didn't hear anything.
He just talked to guru pitching coach. Extraordinaire Garrett Cole on the bench there, and maybe got fixed. So
Garrett Cole should be pitching coach of the year.
Yeah, I mean he's between him and Matt Blake. I mean Matt Blake does makes everybody
look amazing.
all the
relief guys.
Yeah, diamonds in the rough. He certainly finds them and he turns them into great relievers. And then now you've got Cole on the bench, talking to all the starters and tweaking everything that they do. So that's fine. Yeah, I'm sure he'll be a pitching coach in the future.
Yeah, it was. And then speaking of Rodon, it was also good to see him pitch. He's had mostly good outings so far, but
yeah, he's improved on each. It just seemed like that one was the more dominant outing. Yeah. And yeah.
Speaking of Rodon, I mentioned this to LG while we're watching games, but I really like Ashley Rodon. Like,
oh yeah, she's
as far as like pitcher wives go. Like, she just seems like a fan. Like, if she didn't have the last name Rodon, I would put her like at the same level as like some of the other like Yankees Twitter people we see.
I love when she posts. She's like, "Oh yeah, that was a strike, huh?" And it's are we boring you here? Oh my God.
So everyone knows, it's 10:45 at night.
He's an old man. Anyway, yeah, Ashley Rodon is a great hype man for her husband.
Long you want.
All right, you got us all set up. You can go to bed. Yeah, I appreciate her.
Her brutally honest.
Yeah, she hates the umps just like we all.
She hates the jerseys.
She hates the jerseys. She
talked about how terrible Rodon the jerseys are. Just imagine if Rodon has to slide for something and his pants tear.
Yeah.
Anyway, who doesn't know that the Tigers had a guy who slid into home and his entire side ripped right out. But there's no issues with those jerseys at all.
Yeah, the uniforms are perfectly. They didn't change anything.
And the players all love it. Just ignore the fact of that one Angels guy holding up a jersey and being like an old jersey and be like, oh, look at this, look at that.
That's so much better. Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing the Tigers player was wearing like leggings.
Yeah, I think he was wearing like black leggings underneath, and
and
they're all laughing about it. They were like looking at it, and
yeah. I mean, yeah, that's hilarious.
Anyway,
the Fanatics jerseys are awful, absolutely awful.
Yeah, speaking of new jerseys, I got this one, and it's a 1995 replica. I was not touching Fanatics jerseys this year. I'm really hoping they fix that next year. We have Soto re-signed, and I'll get a Soto jersey next year, but hopefully it's not Fanatics.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, at the very least, the Yankees are saved from the awful tiny
the name type
font.
And I was looking at those. We're going off on jerseys right now, but I was looking at a Soto jersey just because I was curious of it.
Yeah.
You can't, like, I would have to find the right one to look at, but, like, everyone I was trying to look at had the nameplates on them. I was like, I don't want the nameplates. I don't want them anymore because they look stupid.
Oh. Yeah, I thought I saw that you could, but sometimes it's not easy to find the ones with then sometimes the ones without the nameplates are more expensive, and so I don't understand that. You know what also is hilarious, and like, are you effing kidding me? How is this a thing? At the stadium, there were signs that were like, bring your older jerseys to the stadium to have the Star Insurance logo put on your jersey for $15. You can pay them to put the jersey.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
No, I did not.
Why am I going to pay you to put? I mean, I guess it's a thing of like, make your older jersey look like the replica.
Was this on Yes during the Miami ones? Did this pop up during that?
No, I think I saw it like on Twitter. Just somebody had posted it like, this is a real thing, by the way. And it was like, what? I almost thought it was like,
that's gotta be. I thought that would be a porch type thing. Like, the way you're describing it, like, that's like a porch
I hope I didn't get porched. I'm pretty sure I saw somebody post a picture.
I saw Patches retweet it.
Okay. So, like, I would just like, who would want to put the Star Insurance logo by choice on your jersey that you already own and pay
for it?
$15 for it. So I just thought that was like,
they paid the team to have their patch on there, but we'll pay to.
I know. It was like, no.
Yeah, no thanks. So can you remove mine off of any future jerseys?
I think when I first saw it, that's what I thought it was. Like, we'll remove it for you for $15. Like,
probably the cheapest thing you could buy there.
Sure. Yeah, maybe that or a pin. Like,
hey, they gotta repay Soto. They gotta be able to pay for Soto somehow.
Yeah, seriously, I'll spend $50 on a chicken bucket. Isn't that's the saying that keeps going around? I'll spend $50 on a chicken bucket to re-sign Juan Soto. I don't care.
Well,
Or yeah.
Anyway, moving on from the Fanatics jerseys and patches, Volpe also got leadoff yesterday. I saw some people upset about that, but I feel like he got it because his at-bats were really good. He was taking... What you want from a leadoff batter is somebody who sees a lot of pitches but also can get on. And I don't think Torres does that enough. Torres often likes to swing early. I think he's done a really good job this year seeing a lot of pitches.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was going to say. I think he has done a pretty decent job, but he was in a skid. Yeah. And I've always felt like Glaber does better. Maybe not as deep in the lineup as he was yesterday, but
I think he's really good in that 5 slot.
His comfort zone is there, and I just feel like I don't know, he's just not exactly the leadoff person. I don't know if he gets too much in his head. It's the first at bat, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It just, the eye test, I have no stats to back this up, that he just doesn't seem to do as well in the leadoff spot.
Yeah. I know a lot of people were complaining about it, which I see where the complaints are as far as we're winning. Why move the lineup around?
Why change it around?
Volpe's doing really good now. Move that later on.
My guess is they're moving it around because DJ's on his way back in,
and they're trying to figure things out. Which, yeah, and that's
I don't think it's I think it is earlier than I expected them to. I kind of,
especially with how well things were working.
Yeah. And so my bet is it was more of a matchup / DJ's coming. We might as well change this on the last series of the Marlins game where we've already won the series. If we've seen any quote unquote punt lineups this year, maybe yesterday's the Wednesday game was it. Even though compared to any punt lineup of last year, I would take yesterday's lineup in a heartbeat. But yeah. So
I mean, I had some other issues with that lineup.
The bottom.
Where's Waldo?
Waldo was. We haven't seen Waldo since April 7th. He hasn't played in a game since April 7th. So that was the last Diamondbacks game.
Yeah. Now we did face all lefties against the Marlins, starting pitching wise, and he's notorious for not being very good on the right side. He's switch hitter. But he's done it not terrible this year against it. But I was surprised not to see him in at least one game.
Yeah, they have. He has.
I mean, Wells is awful against lefties, and he started in one game. I know he's catcher, so catchers don't typically play every single day. But I was just surprised.
They have pitched him against lefty on lefty, or he's
hit lefty on lefty, and he's hit righty on lefty, and he's hit both. But
and I think so. I know they like him better from the left side of the plate, and that's fine. Me too. And I don't know. It just seemed odd to me that they didn't pinch hit him at the end of the game yesterday when we were, trying to rally back. Or I know Birdie ended up getting a single an infield single in his last at bat when he would have been pinch hit for Waldo, but it just seemed a little odd. Or that Grisham maybe even wasn't pinch hit for at the end for Verdugo, but he hit a home run that night, so maybe they were just hoping that.
I mean, I feel like there's a lot of interesting this person or that person in conversation right now. So there's a lot of people who are very much against Verdugo and want Grisham starting over him, which in my opinion, I did stats, and let me pull it up for one second here. And I try to break this down into as many statistics as I possibly can, because when you use any one statistic, I could just pull the first one and be like, Verdugo is so much more amazing than Grisham because he hits 280 batting average versus Grisham's career 215. But we all know batting average isn't the greatest stat.
Not on its own.
But also doesn't tell the whole story. So, when you go down the list, though, in almost all categories, Verdugo, career-wise, has been a better hitter, whereas Grisham has been a much better fielder. He has a higher fielding percentage than Verdugo. He has more defensive runs saved in less time. He's Verdugo's been in the league for 8 years. I think Christian's been in the league for 5. So in less time, he's accumulated more defensive runs saved, much higher OAA, which I don't know what that means, but I've heard that that's a very important defensive stat. Whereas Verdugo is like -6 and Grisham is 36. But the biggest difference is that Grisham has a noodle arm and Verdugo has a very good arm.
Outs above average.
Outs above average. Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, so Verdugo's is below 0 in outs above average.
Below average in outs, I get like
getting outs to the average.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think when we got Grisham, we knew that he was a defensive first player, that he would be probably pinch hit into games we were winning, but we're close to kind of keep them that way. And I guess you could argue on the other side so that the game doesn't get further apart, keep them in the game. I don't know. Verdugo didn't hit his home run yesterday.
It was 2 days ago.
2 days ago, whatever. I'm mixing things up, but yeah, maybe they just Verdugo also has a personality and spark, and he's got that dog in him, and he's barking at the players.
Barking at everybody.
So
and he reminds me a lot of Nick Swisher. I think Nick Swisher was a much better bat. I don't think. He's never done it. Verdugo's not hitting 29 home runs this season. That's. Yeah. We saw that out of Nick Swisher in the 7-hole when he was in 2009. But
when everyone else is hitting, it's okay for Verdugo to be in there to try to figure some things out and be have the good vibes. And keep vibes good.
And part of the reason why I don't think he sat yesterday is because he did have 3 really good hits in the game before as well.
Yeah, so if Aaron Boone is right and he believes in hot, then Verdugo should stay there.
Yeah. Which is the opposite when it comes with Waldo, because Waldo was hot and then we didn't see him at all for 3 straight games, which I just thought was weird. That's just one way to really cool him off.
I would have thought we would have seen him for 1 game. And my only thought there with Waldo,
I just hope he's not injured.
If the knee jerk, oh my God, PTSD kind of, we didn't see him for 3 days, and they're not talking about him, so we're just gonna end up hearing that he's injured here pretty soon, or that because DJ's making his way back, Birdie might not see as much playing time, or maybe they're trying to see if they should give him more playing time, or how they should balance Waldo, DJ, and Birdie. Boone did also mention, I didn't watch Talkin' Yanks the whole episode, but I saw clips of the Boone on Talkin' Yanks earlier this week, and he'd mentioned that he still sees Waldo as an option in the outfield. So my guess is when DJ comes back, that is also how those 3 will work themselves in. I am a little worried that when DJ comes back, we're going to start seeing the lineups change a lot again, because of who's playing today kind of thing. So I do, watch out for that. We might expect to see, hopefully not. I mean, that might be the test to see if they've actually changed philosophy or oh no, now, now we're
because we know basically Jemiah Jones, unless there's an injury, he's the one who's gone. So yeah. And he's barely playing. So someone's going to get a lot of playing time cut.
I think the first time we really saw him in recent memory, it was pinch run yesterday, and
the time before that was substituted in for Torres.
Right, because he had
So
that's right.
But yeah, going back with Verdugo real quick, I think one of the important things to mention with him is versus righties, Verdugo is much better. Both of them are lefty hitters. But Grisham is one of the opposite guys where he actually much better hits off of same side.
So that's people really wanted him in there.
Because they were facing mostly lefties, and that would have been a good time to get him in. But he had been so hot. He had a 3-hit series in his first game. He had a home run in the second game. And so where, if you're saying, if he is hitting hot, why would you sit Verdugo?
Yeah,
I think because that's only because you're not going to sit Judge or Soto.
I think I just don't think they plan to use Grisham in that way. I think the way they plan to use from the time that they were told you need to take Grisham with Soto, that was their plan. Then he's going to be more
defensive
of the
guy.
Defense. Yeah.
But yeah, I do think if he is going to get into games, it's going to be in games where we're facing a lefty pitcher, and Verdugo has gotten time to figure things out. I think that's part of it too, is that Verdugo had such a cold start to the season, and now he's getting hot. We're not going to take him out while he's hot. So I think that's where that comes from. But we're going to see Grisham, I think, more often when a lefty is up. Grisham is also more of a slugging type hitter versus he doesn't make contact often, but when he does, he can hit it much harder and farther than Verdugo. Yeah. Verdugo is a weak contact, ground balls type hitter, which some people don't like. Okay. I think that weak contact hitter, yeah.
Okay.
That's just been his game. I think he's at most hit 16 home runs in a season. Now, I don't think Grisham has hit that many home runs in a season, but in his career, Grisham has more home runs than Verdugo in much less play time. So, but again, with all that said, Verdugo's slugging percentage is still better, which means even with the more home runs that Grisham has hit over his career, Verdugo hits into more doubles and gets on base to such a degree where he's still outweighing Grisham. So I don't understand the Grisham calls. Grisham, in my opinion, he's going to be traded. If Verdugo's doing good when Dominguez comes back, Grisham is traded. And if Verdugo turns into a completely crap, then Verdugo gets traded. And Jason Dominguez becomes the everyday starter when he returns, and Grisham retains his role. But
yeah, I agree. I think
one of them in a trade.
I think the more likely one is Trent Grisham. I don't know. I mean, maybe as long as they can trade him. I mean, that's the other part. Who gives you the better trade in return?
Right.
But yeah, I don't know if we made our point with Volpe. Volpe, I don't think we expected to become a leadoff batter so early in the season. And so I probably would have liked to see more at bats at the lower end of the order before he was put into leadoff. But he didn't do bad last night. He went 1 for 3. Yeah, 1 for 3 with 2 walks. I mean, that's okay. Like,
that's actually pretty good as far as like a leadoff guy.
Yeah, I think he saw 7 or 8 pitches in his first at, or maybe it was 6. 6 to 8 pitches in first at bat, which, so that's decent. Like, especially if it's 8. I just can't remember now. Now I know I took a note of it last night and I didn't write it down. But anyway, like he sees a lot of pitches anyway, and he's seeing the ball really well. So I think it was a nice move to see them move him up to the leadoff spot.
And a lot of the ones that I've seen strikeouts wise, talking about how good of an eye he's had this year, like how much he's improved in that. The strikeouts he's had have been, especially this homestand series, have been off of bad calls.
Yeah, those called strikes, he had every right to be pissed off at.
I think there was one game, and he looked around, and he's like, "That's the 3rd time." I think he had 3 strikeouts in a game, and all of them were off of the plate. And he looked around, and he was like, "That's the 3rd time."
It was Tuesday night. It was bad, and Boone had to get between him and.
I know we don't read lips as good as John Boy does, but I could read his lips on that one. That's the 3rd time.
Yeah, he was pissed, and maybe it was Monday, but because I know that it was brought up on that was another clip of, I think I saw 2 clips, and that was the other clip I saw of Boone on Talking Yanks, and he was like, I think they asked him, did you expect to have to get in between Volpe and the umpire ever? Like, did you ever think that was going to have to happen? Because I mean, Volpe's
such a happy,
respectable
very
like young man or whatever, and he doesn't seem like the type to go off. He seems more Aaron Judge like that. It'd be rare for him to say anything to an umpire. And apparently Boone responded, "Oh no, like." He does not like umpires or something like that. So like, I guess, in the dugout, maybe he has some choice words about things. And last night they bubbled over or not last night, 2 nights ago, whatever, one of the nights during the
Marlins homestand
series, he
it
went
was
off
bad
on that. I mean, yeah, and Boone had to get in between him and the umpire because I mean, everybody was pissed. He had every right. I know that the one that I remember that he turned around and he was like, this is the second or third time, whatever it was it was like inside and down, and like I think I remember just like, how is that, like, and it was ball 4, so he's on his way to first. It was that was some pretty bad officiating.
But I'm glad that his strikeouts are 2 bad ones out of the zone versus last year where he'd be swinging at those.
Well, it's like, and speaking of, that's true. And that's probably what frustrates Volpe the most. He's like, I am so disciplined and not swinging at these pitches outside the strike zone. And I'm
still getting strikeouts on.
Yeah. So that's probably extremely frustrating. But I'm sure Gleyber was also extremely frustrated having to deal with Angel Hernandez's calls behind the plate the other night. He, the first at bat he had to open the game, I think it was that one. It doesn't matter.
Rodon pitched during Hernandez's behind the plate. Is that what we were talking about?
Yes, but when Gleyber came up and he's
yes, so we're talking about the
pitcher Weathers. I think it was Weathers.
No, it was the one before. It was Puck.
Puck.
Or it was. I think it was the guy who came in after Puck. Because Puck came out early. But yeah, it was the second game of the series.
Whoever, he stepped off.
They stepped off, stepped back on.
His cleat got caught on the mound. He steps off and he comes back on.
And immediately quick pitches.
And quick pitches, yes. And that's how Boone described it. So maybe I saw another. Boone described it as a quick pitch, and I remember Wandy getting called for that all year last year. Like, he, not allowed to quick pitch. You've got to make contact with the batter.
Eye contact,
eye contact. Sorry. And that was what Gleyber was like trying to tell Angel Hernandez, the umpire behind the plate, and like he didn't make eye contact.
And for those that don't know, Angel Hernandez is notoriously like the worst umpire,
and he
complains every year about not getting like postseason.
He doesn't get
credibility, and MLB was basically like, no, he's only here because the umpire union won't let us fire him.
Yeah, I mean, Angel Hernandez has put forth a discrimination lawsuit or like claim or whatever, maybe not lawsuit, but claim against MLB, saying that it is just he is being discriminated against as to why that's the reason why he's not being put on an MLB
postseason
roster.
Discriminating against him because he's a bad umpire.
I was like, yeah, maybe they just discriminate against bad umpires. I mean, like, you consistently, there's always some dramatic point.
He always makes
in the
things
game.
About him.
Yes, and that was what he did
that's
that
the worst
night.
Of it.
Oh, Heel was on the mound when he was behind the plate because for us, because Heel got emotional in like the third inning, and he was like,
oh yeah,
there was like a couple of pitches where it could have gone either way, and I do think, and I remember Michael Kay saying like, those are actually balls or whatever, like, and don't show up the umpire, especially this umpire. And there was like, he thought he had strike 3 like a couple of times.
So this was game 1.
And he went to get off the mound, and
but I thought game 1 Hernandez was on first.
No, because he gave him a lecture, and
I do remember that. I just thought that he was on first. He
came out, and it was after trust. I was hot about this.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. Rodon was game 1. Heel was game 2. And so it was game.
Heel's the 5th pitcher, so it was Angel. I mean, I have it. You want me to look?
Yeah, no, I know Heel was on the mound when he got the lecture. I was under the impression that it was in game 2 because I thought in game 1 Hernandez was, I thought Hernandez was on first. I remember them talking about.
So it was game 3 of the Toronto series, or the game 3.
Yeah. Okay, was he during Toronto?
Yeah.
Oh, we just had a different bad umpire this time, and that's why I'm thinking about that.
Yeah. So it was on the 7th. It was Hernandez was behind the plate.
That's where I'm getting confused. And it was in Toronto. Because I remember the game before he was on first, and he made a bad call on first. I think it was the one that we had to overturn. Or no, he actually made a good call. It was very close, and he made a good call. And that was when Michael Kay was like, are you surprised that Angel Hernandez got that call right?
It was, and then they were like, in the game.
Yeah, and then they were like, oh, Well, he's going to be behind the plate tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh, yes.
That's why I remember. That's why I remember him at first. Okay, so it was game 3. I was like, it couldn't have been game 1 because I remember in the series he was on first before he was at the at the plate. So it was a different set of umpires in Miami.
Yeah. So the reason I remember, though, is because Gleyber made a point to say to Angel Hernandez, he didn't look at me coming off the mound. And I'm sure that's what Boone said, too, because it was, the Boone came out, too, to be like, what the hell happened there?
Yeah.
So not only – and so he – quick pitch. So the pitch should have been ball 4, right? Like, because that's what that now what happens with those quick pitches is with the pitch clock, it's a violation. So it goes into
should have been a ball. Yeah.
A ball. So that would have been a walk. And it wasn't. And not only should the ball that was actually pitched. So if
the ball was actually pitched was a ball.
Good 6 inches above the strike
zone. It wasn't
even
close.
So it wasn't even close. So that was bad call number 1. And then Heel comes out the next, I think it must have been the next inning. When did Gleyber get up? Okay, he struck out looking in the first and the third. So I don't remember when the bad call happened. Oh no, it must have been the very first at bat was when this happened with Gleyber and Angel. And then and so in the third inning,
third inning is when Heel had a bad start. Or bad inning was the third inning for Heel.
Top of the third, he starts out, he strikes out IKF and Kiermaier right away. Then he gives up a single to Springer. He hits Guerrero and then walks Bichette. And within all of this, he can't throw a damn strike between Guerrero and
he was struggling
Bichette.
to find the strike zone.
Yeah, it was and part of it was the close ones weren't going his way because he kind of showed up
Hernandez
either during the Springer at bat or something, and he made kind of an exasperated. I don't think it was anything terrible.
I remember it was kind of he did a side eye. He was
he kind of it was kind of a one of the times he went back to the mound and was it was a little floppy kind of, you gotta be kidding me kind of thing. So and Michael K was like, don't show him up, you're gonna regret that. And then he kind of did, and there was a couple of times Angel Hernandez stopped and was like, you gotta look at me. And so I know because Gleyber Torres made a big deal about it, he was making a big deal about it back to the Yankees.
Sure.
You want to make a big deal? And then you need to look. And he was looking, and it was I don't know what you're talking about. I'm ready. I'm looking at the batter, and
Angel Hernandez gets me heated.
Yeah,
I think any game he plays, and the umpires union just they have the best union that there is in America.
They kept saying that he's such a nice guy. If you ask the other umpires, he's such a nice guy, and he might be.
I'm sure he is, and I've heard actually that
field.
I've heard that fans actually have good interactions with Angel Hernandez, even when shit talking him. He's just kind of hey, he smiles and
good. I'm glad he's a good person about it. But your job is to be
good
and not cause drama on the field. We shouldn't even know your name.
You could be a good person and bad at your job.
Yes,
and
that is
him.
Absolutely possible, and that is Angel Hernandez. And because it was just bad, and then Gleyber Torres gets up again in the third inning, and it happens to him again. He gets a really bad third strike, called strike to strike out, and on it, it's just.
And what's ironic about this, when it comes to Angel Hernandez too, what's ironic about this was a good game for him.
That's true. It wasn't. The scorecard that came out, I was like, huh. Interesting.
Yeah, he had
the Stanton home run game. Yeah,
he had 4 missed calls. The Grand Slam one.
This Grand Slam, because I remember they were like, "Oh, that's fine. You don't need to call balls and strikes, Angel Hernandez. I'll just hit a Grand Slam right off."
Well, anyway, moving on. Some concerns. So we talked about some of the highlights, even though there was not all highlights there, but some other concerns. Judge came up to bat last night. Bases loaded, down, we were down 3. So he has an
Yeah,
opportunity
exactly.
to hit a grand slam and win the game in heroic fashion. Instead, he popped up to the center fielder in a really weak pop up. Any concerns about Judge hitting a buck 70 this
he
early
really
on?
just missed that pitch. So no. I mean, if we're gonna just get straight to the point, I'm not concerned about Aaron Judge. That he did just miss that pitch. I think. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
it was a pop
it
up.
looked a lot weaker than it actually. I think
like,
it was.
He just missed that, and that would have been insane.
And you could
amazing.
see it on his face too. Like
Yeah.
he, as soon as it came off, he was like, shh, like he was. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, is he hitting the way we're used to Aaron Judge hitting? No. But I don't see anything different with this swing. I mean, I'm not a swing expert, blah, 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 but like, I don't see anything that would like be like, oh God, he's favoring something. Is he injured? It doesn't look like that. Maybe he's just trying to, work the kinks out, get the rust off. We are 13 games into the season, I think.
And someone did say, while last year he started off the season super hot, the year he hit 62 home runs, I don't know if it took this long. I know he
started out slow. I just don't know how slow.
I don't know how long it took, but they're saying like he's actually, and that's why I don't like, because they were only showing average. They didn't show plate appearances or games with this stat, but basically his slump stat line right now is actually slightly better than the start of the season when he hit 62 home runs. So not saying that he's going to hit 62 home runs this season, or maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but it's Aaron Judge has just as many cold and hot streaks as any other player.
It's baseball. Yeah. I mean,
but he'll get hot.
He's Aaron Judge. I think he'll find it. He'll and then everyone will
forget
or people on Twitter will remind you that you were telling people telling Judge to be sent down to AAA or whatever. Or be
There's a couple of really good Yankees Twitters guys that I really like. Whenever something like comes up and they already have the receipts ready, they're like, "Hey,
this you." I mean, sometimes people are so knee-jerk about it. It's like, you got to remember baseball is a really long season, and we're 10-3 and Judge isn't hitting well.
Yeah, that's very good in my opinion.
It's a very good thing. Stanton is very hot, so you know what? Let it ride. It'll work itself out.
Yeah. Today's an off day, and so I'm sure he's in the lab today trying to analyze his swing.
He is so pissed off that he missed that opportunity to get a grand slam. I'm sure maybe later, maybe it's still too sore, but Stan be like, I mean, I hit a grand slam, and
I would have done it if I didn't get pitch hit for it, but you got pinch run for it, not pinch hit. Yeah, I hope he never gets pinch hit for by Jahmai Jones.
Yeah, I think we'd be in some trouble. But
Boone should be fired on the spot if that happened. But no, I'm not concerned about Judge. My concern more so, and I hope it's not knee jerk to say this, but is Rizzo's defense. Volpe has 3 errors this season because the error is always on the throw. But yeah, outside of one of them, which was an actual really bad throw by Volpe.
Yeah,
two of them were because of picks that Rizzo should have had.
Yeah, and what we're used, and I think
wasn't the one yesterday costly? Isn't that during Stroman's meltdown inning?
I have the wrong. Yeah, I think so. I remember it. Yes, it kind of prolonged
the inning.
It would help to look at the right side. Yeah, I think it prolonged the inning, and I can't find it because my eyes are blurry at the moment. And
I remember it happening in a moment where I was just like, "Oh my gosh, sucks. You gotta make that play, Rizzo!" Like
that whole inning was like a bunch of luck for the Marlins, and he just missed it. I think it wasn't the same inning, or was it that he just missed a pickoff swipe?
Yeah, I think so.
Like Tim Anderson, just got back on a swipe. It might not have been the same inning, but it was that close. And I don't know if that's a bad, that could have just been Tim Anderson slid back in pretty well. But I think we're used to seeing Rizzo's defense. I mean,
Rizzo's a Gold Glover,
top notch.
I think 3-time Gold Glover too. It's not just he had one good season in there.
Yeah, these picks. Okay, not.
For example,
that's nothing for him.
For example, Vladdy's known for not being a very good defender, but somehow he lucked into being a Gold Glover one year. Whereas
Rizzo's not lucking
like a
into
3-time, and it's just like, dude, like you make those picks, like so it's just a little concerning. Like, are you not seeing something right still from last year, or is there something?
And it's not just it didn't happen yesterday. That's why it happened 2 days. That right? Or no, you're right.
There was an error yesterday.
Error by Volpe. I'm looking for E3 on my.
Oh yeah, because it's not thing. Rizzo, it's Volpe. It's
right,
E6.
E6, and it was Fortes in the bottom of the 9 or the top of the 9th, and so that was when that one happened. And
last night's was in the 9th.
Yeah, a run ended up scoring. And
okay, I did think there was a run. Yeah, okay, I thought there was a run from it. I just thought that it was maybe during that 4th inning, but it was later on.
What you're thinking of during the Stroman. Or no, that was Stroman. Was there an error there? No, I think there was another
There was another game where it could, extended.
It was a play in the field. He has an actual E3. I think the game before.
Oh, okay.
Because of a play in the field that he didn't make that he would normally make.
Gotcha. I remember something happening extending. It was like, man, like it's concerning to see Rizzo not having the defense he normally has. That's where I'm more concerned. I mean, hopefully it's not a major one. It's early in the season,
it's
just
early shake off some rust.
Just with what he dealt with last year, I'm hoping that there's still not something there. But
yeah, definitely. I can't find it. Anyway, keep talking. You're good. I'm just looking.
Oh no, that was really it. I think we covered everything, and I don't know if there's anything else there. Rizzo, I think will be. I hope Rizzo will be fine.
What? Oh, I thought you said something. Did you say something?
Well, I didn't want to interrupt, but you guys want to know some baseball history?
What was that?
Sure, go for it.
On this day in 2018, Tyler Austin and Joe Kelly get into a brawl on the field.
I did see this. I hated Joe Kelly after this game. He was like, I hate Joe Kelly. That was probably the last time the Boston Yankees like rivalry was good. This is when
I still remember
Stanton and Judge like
they're bullying everybody.
They're like, no, we're done. Like, and they just like
the whole thing.
They just pick up everybody and move them.
One of the things that doesn't get talked about enough during that brawl too is so basically the ball gets thrown. I don't even think it makes. Does it make connection with
Tyler Austin?
Yes. Oh yeah, he gets hit.
It did. Okay, yeah. I didn't remember if he got hit or if it just threw behind him, but I remember he got so mad he hit the bat onto the thing and it broke. And as he runs out, I mean, he gets basically clocked.
He does. Joe Kelly takes him down.
By Joe Kelly. And when he comes up, he's got like this thing coming down his mouth. And the announcers are like, looks like Tyler Austin's got a little bit of blood there. It's like, that's fucking dip.
Yeah. Well, they're not allowed to technically
have it. So they're like, it's just blood.
Totally blood.
He bleeds brown.
Yeah.
It was just one of the funniest things because he just got this bit of dip just growing right down his chin. They're like, oh man, look at all that blood coming out of.
That's disgusting. I mean that was a fun that's a fun memory. I mean, Tyler Austin wasn't with the Yankees for very long.
Nope, he got us Luke Voigt.
Yes, that's right. And he was with the Yankees during a time when we had 3 Tylers, and now I can't remember the third.
Tyler Wade,
Tyler Austin, and I know there was a third Tyler because it's like, what the fuck?
Bringing all the Tylers in there.
Yeah, what is going on? Well, but yeah, that's fun memory. Thanks for bringing that up. I completely enjoyed watching Judge just like.
I think that year, and multiple times when we had benches clearing moments, Judge and Stanton were just police. They were like,
was that the same year that Brett Gardner like got thrown out for Maben saying something? Remember, he was like, "That's Maben." Maben is in the dugout. He struck out earlier in the game, I think, and he's in the dugout, and somebody else gets a strike. I think it's like Tyler Wade. I don't remember who's up, but he's like, "Fucking terrible!" And then they throw out Gardy, and Gardy's like, "Me?" And then he gets onto the field Boone.
I did not.
Is it Boone or is it so long ago that it was 17 and it was Joe G, one of them is like holding him back, and like
he's like
Gardner's
trying to
like
duck him.
ducking under him and trying to like spin move away from whichever
Yeah.
manager is like, I can't remember now if that was Boone or Joe, but he's trying to like get to the umpire like, that wasn't me, I didn't say anything. That one was funny too.
And maybe it's like,
yeah, Baby's probably over there like, I don't know what you're talking about.
The funniest is at the end, he's like, so am I out?
Yeah. I wonder, I can't remember if that was the same year or not, but
that Guardy ejections were always kind of funny.
Oh yeah.
But all right, well, moving on. Kind of more baseball in general, MLB news. Ohtani updates today, so I don't know if you wanted to take that one over since you're the Ohtani. I think you're the Ohtani expert now.
Sure. I certainly didn't look into this as much as I looked into the last thing. But the IRS, I guess, I don't know if they completed their investigation or what, but all these reports are coming out. Jeff Passan was posting it from what I saw, and it was like
it showed how much like 19,000 bets is what I saw.
19,000 bets, and like
it's like 163 million he bet. He lost and gained 120 million.
And with a net loss of 42 million. My question on all of this, they found out that he ended up stealing 16 million from Ohtani. You can't hear.
Sorry, technical difficulties.
Oh, can you hear now?
Can you hear me?
I can. Oh, no. I could hear you the whole time.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear us? Uh-oh.
I might have done something when we were talking about Tyler Austin. And I had a movement where I swung at something.
Are you plugged into your...
And now it's deaf.
Are you plugged into your computer?
I don't think... Because it was working for a little bit. So give me 1 second. You want to just explain the rest of Ohtani and then I'll get back into it when I have my new headphones?
Sure. So Ohtani, the IRS found that he ended up stealing a total of like $16 million from Ohtani, iPay, the translator. But he lost a net of like $42 or $40 million. So I don't know if he I don't know. A part of me just wonders, like, so is he still like, if he wasn't caught yet, he stole the 16 million from Ohtani. He's 42 million overall net negative. So does he? I don't know. I just does he still owe $20 million to this bookie? I guess is my question. And would he have continued to steal from Ohtani until he got that $20 million, or was he like? I don't know. I have no idea, but this is a lot of money to be in debt for gambling. Like, holy shit, did he have an addiction? Over 26 months, I think it is, that he did over 19,000 bets from take bets from $10 up to $120,000.
I think it was a little bit more than that. Like 180, I thought was the highest. I think 120 was the average. 180 was the high. $10 was the low. I saw somebody say this, and I thought it was really funny, and I agree. I want to know what the $10 bet was.
Right? What did he bet $10 on? Probably one of those prop bets. It's like
you did a bunch of 100K bets, and now you're like, just put $10 on that one.
$10. Yeah, it's crazy. And what else did they find?
It's insane.
There's a lot of people that are still not believing that Ohtani didn't know anything about it, which I guess some of that's fair, but a little fair to be skeptical and question how $16 million can go, be gone from your account. But I think
I don't know if you said this already while I was getting new headphones, but did you talk about how iPay was also on the phone with banks and using Ohtani's voice, and
he was impersonating Ohtani over the phone to get approval for these. He also reportedly changed the settings of his bank account so that it didn't send him notifications for these transactions.
Ohtani gave him way too much trust, and
Way
that's
too
where
much trust.
Ohtani went wrong.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are like, what do you mean? How do you not have an accountant? You're telling me that your translator was your accountant and handling all this stuff. And that's a fair question to ask. How can Ohtani be this stupid? And I just think that he was really naive and trusting.
I mean, he's called him like one of his best friends, one of his closest
spend
friends.
every day together.
And so, I mean, I would never trust even my best friend with everything.
I don't understand how he didn't just at least have one other person. Like, I mean, that's a lot of money, but I think we're also underestimating the amount of money that this man gets. I think, people are, this is how much money he got from the Angels during that time.
I mean, he gets so much money that he only took $2 million a year.
Right. It was like, you guys are forgetting that he didn't only get paid by the Angels prior to this year. He got paid.
I mean, New Balance pays him a ton of money
from American endorsements. He has Japanese endorsements, probably more than we can even imagine. Like,
I'm pretty sure he is New Balance's highest paid athlete of any
Didn't
sport.
They tell us that he gets paid like $30 million in endorsement deals per year, and that's why it doesn't matter to him?
I didn't hear the exact number, but I heard it was so high, and that's why he was like, yeah, I'll take $2 million a year. Like,
Judge gets,
you can give me the rest later.
Yeah, like Judge gets like $4 million in endorsements a year, and he's like one of the top 5 baseball players in endorsements. But Ohtani is like that much more ahead of him, and it's like, so I do think it's believable that he doesn't think about his money because he doesn't ever have to, and I do think that it's plausible that he trusted this guy way too much. Yeah, way different level of rich. Like, we can't wrap our mind around the fact.
Yeah.
I mean,
so I mean, I said it today. I think it's insane to. Oh, sorry. Hold on.
There's way too much evidence of Ipe lying.
Yeah,
and
the fact
consequences of this is 30 years in
jail.
Prison, and this is a federal crime. So we're like, I don't think
I don't
care how good of a friend you are.
That fall. Like, I know a lot of people are trolling online when they're saying it, but there's a lot of people who are being serious, and it's like, get out of your mother's basement or wherever the hell you're tweeting from. Like, the fact that you are trusting a guy who is a known liar. Now, Shohei has not been particularly honest this season on a couple of things, including his home run ball, but like, in general,
that doesn't look good.
In general, like, we all know that Ipe is basically a con artist. Like,
he's a known liar.
He conned. I forget the name of the Japanese team.
Oh, right, yeah.
That Ohtani played for, but he basically conned them into getting a job. He did not graduate from the college he says he graduated from. He did not work for the Red Sox. No. And like, when he came over to the Angels, we talked about this last time. He came over to the Angels because he didn't need the resume anymore. He had Shohei. And Shohei was like,
Ohtani was bringing
we're package deal. You sign me, you hire him. And then same thing with the Dodgers. You sign me, you hire him.
And we just said, you've had plenty of interviews of them like talking about how close they are. Ohtani just seems kind of like a naive and like genuine person, and maybe that's all. You could argue that's all fake. I don't know. I choose to believe that doesn't seem fake. He kind of just does seem like a naive, genuine person, and so maybe he just believed that Ipe was his best friend and had his best interests at heart, and he didn't need to concentrate on his millions of dollars because he has his best interest at heart. So is it stupid? Absolutely. Like, why are you should have a team of people around you paying attention to your money. But I don't know. Baseball players know baseball. Maybe he's stupid financially. I don't know. Like, so there's too much evidence that the IRS investigation came up with to show that Ipe forged authentication, and the fact that he pretended to be him over the phone, and all these other There's text messages to the bookie like,
I mean,
hey,
it's
man,
major fraud.
like I'll get you
fraud.
the money, don't worry. And they line up with when the wire it's major fraud. And it's
and again, I think we talked about this beforehand. If the IRS thought Shohei had anything to do with it, they're going to go over the guy who actually has money assets rather than the guy who's $40 million in debt.
Is Manfred capable of covering this up and not telling us the truth? Absolutely. Yeah. Totally.
But not
believe that.
Not to the IRS level.
I don't think the IRS, and then the actual documents. I mean, believe what you want to believe about our federal, I don't want to get into that. I think you got to trust federal investigations when it comes to
something like this. Like if we're talking about other things, sure, we can have an argument about. Again, we don't have to get into that. We're not a political podcast, but like you want to have discussions about political corruption. There's cases,
money. Don't
but
worry about it.
It's not going to be over Ohtani's $16 million. Again, if there was money to be had with Shohei being at fault, they're going to go after him because he has the money to pay it back. Yeah.
They
want that money.
So Ipe sounds like he's going to jail for a long time, and he sounds like he also sucks as a person.
And I will say, as stupid as Ohtani was for him, how awful of a human being do you have to be to allow someone to have that? I mean, just an absolute degenerate gambler who cared nothing more than about himself. And
I mean, that's what addiction is, right?
He played that con with Ohtani too. Like, they were not close friends.
Yeah, I mean, you don't do that.
Shohei was close friends with him, but he played a con with Ohtani.
Sure. Yeah, and
on the same side of things.
Sucks. So I mean, and like I said, like I was trying to say, that's addiction. You don't care about anything else. It's just about your addiction.
The next hit,
and so
whatever that hit is.
His high is apparently betting $120,000 on not baseball. That was the other.
It was very clearly not baseball.
Like none of these,
and maybe it was done on
59,000. Was that what it was?
I saw a tweet.
Or no, it was 19,000 bets.
19,000.
I saw a tweet where somebody said that that he'd shown great restraint by not betting on baseball.
Great restraint.
The
only thing I can say is that I don't think it was necessarily great restraint. Like, I mean, I think that's insane, but I think it was more of covering his ass. Like, I think if he bet on baseball, the whole thing would have crumbled a lot quicker.
Well, that's true. It probably would have crumbled a lot quicker. And that was one of the things he very quickly said during when it was all coming out last month or a couple weeks ago. I don't remember. No, I know that betting on baseball is illegal. Like, because he was like, he didn't realize what he was doing was illegal. So he says, but he knew betting on baseball was illegal. They tell us was
very clear on that.
Illegal within MLB. They're very clear on that in spring training. We have a meeting about that. I remember reading that quote. He had it in his head. Okay, I'm not allowed to do that. But I can steal from my best friend though. So yeah.
Well, they didn't have a meeting every year about not stealing from your best friend.
No, they didn't. No. They didn't. He didn't know that.
He might have to have a pass on that one. All right. So moving on to dummy questions here, and this kind of involves. Oh wait, sorry.
No, the other big news. Not that first. The other big headlines in MLB right now are all of the injuries, all the injuries to the pitchers. So
I was going to tie it into her question, but I apologize. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can talk about it first, and then she can ask her question. Okay. So, any baseball fan may have heard by now that there are a ton of pitchers' injuries, especially to bigger name pitchers.
Yes.
In the last
17 this month.
Yes, and
we're only 11 days in.
Yeah. The Yankees have been hit with it a little bit with Garrett Cole. Thank God
he's smart and
crazy person that knows every feeling in his body and knew to stop throwing early enough to hopefully avoid serious injury. But a bunch of other Loizaga is also another player that got hit with these pitching injuries just earlier this week. We found out that he was shut down.
And this is it for basically his Yankee career.
Yeah, because he was a free agent at the end of the year, and so I doubt
he gets
it.
re-signed.
I mean, kind of career has been plagued with injuries. And so he went down with a forearm flexor strain. And if anybody knows anything about what that is, that's, the forearm flex. It's like it's right over your UCL, and that's typically that's the first sign that, oh no, he's going to go get an MRI on his elbow, and we're going to be told he's going to need Tommy John surgery. And that's exactly what happened with Loizaga, and what seems to be happening with several.
Yeah. I mean,
players.
You also got Shane Bieber, former Cy Young winner, who went down.
Does not throw fast either.
No, right? He's more of a breaker guy. Yeah, he does not throw with high velocity, but he throws with a lot of break.
Okay.
Spencer Strider, though, is a high velocity guy. He is also done. Yuri
Cy
Perez,
Young candidate last year.
Cy Young candidate. He was my favorite for this season's Cy Young winner. Yuri Perez went down. So there are a few big names, but I mean,
there's Valdez very recently. They haven't said he has Tommy John in his future, but he has inflammation in his elbow, and they're shutting him down for at least a few days till they can evaluate more. That's a lot of times that's how Garrett's went, and his was positive.
Was positive. So, for his sake, I hope it's just as positive, but I mean, and then there's a lot. I mean, I tried to do some research before the podcast on how many injuries and who's been injured, what months they've happened. But I think the one that I was looking at wasn't exactly correct, because it included in March, it included Jacob deGrom,
and he was injured last year,
and Lance McCullers, and both of them were injured last year. So I think this was just saying when these people had their most recent update. On their injury,
most recent transaction.
Yeah, so those ones aren't exactly accurate, but yeah, I mean, Jacob deGrom last year had a major injury, and so there's a lot of big names. Lucas Giolito did happen during March. He was the guy that was a week before Cole.
And right after the Red Sox, maybe not right after, but the Red Sox signed him, right?
Yeah.
It was because he hasn't. Yeah, it was so early on, and it was just a huge blow to the. I mean, I don't want to sound sympathetic to the Red Sox, but I feel like I was a bit there.
Oh, I mean, it sucks for the pitcher, just having those issues.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Another big one was Sandy Alcantara during. I think his happened very early on in.
That's right. Yeah.
During just the pitchers and catchers stuff, he went down. I mean, there is a list here, and again, some of these people were from last year, but I mean, there's almost over 50 pitchers out, and there's a lot of star names on that, former MVPs, Cole being one of them, former strikeout leaders.
Yeah,
that's what Strider. I mean, Strider's a former strikeout leader.
Yeah, it's certainly not something you want to see. And it's not good for baseball for all these stars to be injured like this.
And rather than, trying to, say something about, hey, we want to, come to a solution to get this fixed, MLB is instead just basically saying it's not our fault. And because the MLBPA,
it was in response to a few guys coming out and saying, MLBPA came out and said, the Players Association put out a statement that said, well,
this has to do with the pitch clock.
This is the MLB decided to reduce the pitch clock by 2 seconds without consulting MLBPA and without looking at any evidence from last year for injuries or, yes, it sped up the game. We clearly see that, but what effect did it have on the pitchers?
But also sped up their recovery time in between pitches. So.
Yeah, and that has to have a physical effect. And I feel why did we up it so soon after last year? I feel like you should at least have 2 seasons of play under your belt to analyze
for any change
differences
in a league.
And that way you can see if anything we had, we were talking about last time, there's so much technology to see fatigue rates in pitchers that you could compare this data over
I mean, if you seasons. If a team can tell in a dugout when somebody is getting fatigued based off of arm
you
slots. They
you
could
have
have
all
done
that
the same.
data. Run tests.
Run tests. See what happens when
give the nerds
somebody
something better to do than making lineups. Like
exactly. I mean,
they can assess that, and so and then like you said, MLB came out and made an ass of themselves by saying absolutely not. This has nothing to do with. And maybe it's because they throw too hard or something.
Yeah. It was basically that. It's like, let's not forget that velocity has the highest something about the highest correlation when it comes to injuries.
And does MLB incentivize,
which I thought was hilarious because
pitch 100 miles an hour, or do they
not
disincentivize that?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure MLB loves it when Aroldis Chapman goes out there and throws 104 miles an hour and strike out.
Shortly after they made that statement, they posted MLB. I mean, obviously, the people who make the statements for MLB and the people who do the social media are different people. But still, the brand MLB makes this statement, and then the brand in social media posts that Aroldis Chapman threw 102 back-to-back pitches.
I didn't even know that. I just, Yeah,
it was like the same day.
So, and we're, having Aroldis Chapman do that at the huge man that he is, he's a giant, is a bit, all bodies are different. Like he probably can just throw 102 miles an hour.
I think there was this like a sports science back when that was really popular. On him,
sequence.
On him, and they talked about how he does it, and he actually doesn't do it with his shoulder. It's really? A lot of his core. Yeah, he. I mean,
that man is like muscles on muscles. Like he's too big. He's huge.
Basically, from what I remember from it is that he actually, like most pitchers will come in and their shoulders are set up 90 degrees facing. Okay. Like if you have the line
they're like perpendicular.
Flat line, they're perpendicular to home plate. He like rotates further in, and then his recoil on that from his hip, like from his landing point through his hips, like has a much stronger rotation on his lower body.
The torque from his
it's much more torque,
and so less on his
elbow. So that's part of what he's doing, and they showed that because he also has a very long stretch. You said he's a tall man. He uses such a tall. He uses that tall frame to actually get down the pitcher's mound, and actually he's pitching from much shorter than he's pitching from almost 52 feet, 53 feet rather than
his span is so long. Yeah, I think we're getting down to there are some pitchers who are naturally
who can pitch 100 plus,
and there are other pitchers who really should focus on pitching instead of throwing, but the game doesn't incentivize that.
Right.
And what I mean is, pitching and throwing the right pitch at the right time instead of just trying to blow a pitch by at 98 miles an hour. And sometimes that is the thing to do, blow a pitch by at 98 miles an hour. But when that becomes part of the game, you're talking about a lot of,
and I think Kay said it perfectly.
Potential.
Have you ever seen a knuckleballer go down with
and when was the last time
Tommy
we saw
John
a good
surgery?
Knuckleballer in Major League Baseball? Tim Wakefield?
J.A. Dickey would be the last one, I think.
Oh, I forgot about Dickey. That's right.
I always do too until it comes up, and I was like, oh shit, he was a knuckleballer, and he actually won a Cy Young.
That's right. So a little more recent than I was thinking, but
also not that recent. It feels recent, but it's probably been 10 years.
Really that long?
Probably.
But again, it's still only one. And even in Tim Wakefield's era, it was still really only one. Knuckleballers, that a knuckleball pitch is really hard to master in a way.
I'm sorry, I said J.A. Dickey is R.A. Dickey, and he won it in 2012. So yeah.
It's been a minute.
Been 12 years.
Yeah, so they're not. MLB just doesn't incentivize. The MLB.
Yeah, pitching the black is no longer pitching the black is no longer the the focus.
Yeah, your Greg Maddux of the game are no longer like they're few and far between. You know, the Verlander grew up in a different style of pitching, so he's also a different style of a pitch.
If you get a chance, I know you've seen it, but for those listening, if you get a chance, listen to Verlander's. It's like a 4-minute video or something like that.
Yeah, Codify on it's like a baseball account that does a pitching account on Twitter that they posted. I don't know if they did the interview or they just posted it, but I think that's where I saw it. And it's a really good interview.
And you can probably just look it up too on YouTube, something. Yeah, you can just look it up. Yeah,
Verlander good analysis, very Cole-like in the way
injuries.
He is thinking about it and just the
very intelligent.
Multiple variables of what can happen. And I think he's right. This is a factor. This is a multi-factor. He said, the other thing he brings up is the texture of the ball and like the tackiness of the ball. They're not, they're only allowed to use rosin and sweat now for stickiness to make sure they get the right kind of grip on the ball. Glass now has a very infamous interview when he got injured right after they banned all the sticky stuff. And he's like, you're changing grips. And if I can't get the grip the way I need to change the pressure. That's going to change.
Yeah, he said I could feel. He said, and I think so. I do think that it was 2 starts. We were talking about this. Was it the first start or the second start? I do think it was the second start because in that thing, he mentions how after he threw that first game without the sticky stuff, and his sticky stuff was just, I don't know if you just said it, it was rosin and sunscreen.
No, I was saying they're only allowed to use now rosin and sweat. But yeah, he was using sunscreen mixed in with that to...
Yeah, I think he had like sunscreen put on his arm, and then he would grab the rosin and then, wipe that on his arm and then throw. And so that was his choice. He's like, I never done sticky spider tack. But
it sticks to everything. Yeah. It's going to change the way you grip things. And yet,
he said that his arm was never more sore, and it was sore in different areas that he never felt before. And then the next start, he pops his UCL. So I think that's why it was 2 different starts, because he mentioned how he's like, I felt it after the first one, and then sure enough.
Boop. Yeah, I mean, Glass now, he got Tommy John surgery, he's back in the game, and he threw an excellent game the last I saw for the Dodgers.
And most people who get the Tommy John surgery do come back and they're doing pretty good. It's just that it takes a year and a half.
Yeah, I mean, you're losing Loaizaga. Like we said, Loaizaga is not going to pitch for the Yankees again. He's out.
He probably won't pitch for most of next year. I mean, he's a free agent. He's not going to get signed until probably later. I mean, he could be like a Chad Green situation. Right. Chad Green tore his UCL and got signed by Toronto.
We just signed someone that is due back.
Yeah, JT Bull.
Yeah,
Brawl or something like that from
You'll be picked
Pittsburgh.
up. I mean, Loaizaga is. I mean, he could be such a great closer or setup guy. The Yankees wanted to use him this year as Michael King.
I never understood that.
I didn't understand that either. I know, like it was like he's an injury prone guy. He throws hard, and you want him to be Michael King. Like
I always thought that was going to go to Ian Hamilton this year, just because he has like that structure to be able to do that.
Two really nice, stop the bleeding, shut down. I mean, I think the game before that he pitched, it wasn't the best, but
it's been hit or miss. But I always just thought that he was going to be that guy.
Yeah, he seems like the better option to do that, and maybe now that's the way they're going. But anyway, I think it's a combination of all these factors: the pitch clock being shortened, the pitch clock existing at all, and then being shortened. I don't think that's as big of a factor, but I don't think it's nothing. The incentivizing throwing 98 miles an hour for everybody, even starters, and that's what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And then the balls. Oh, the other point I wanted to make too is that not only is the sticky substances are banned, they can't get the grip on the ball that they want. There's a Rays pitcher, and I can't remember his name now.
Oh yeah, Fairbanks, but he's kind of getting blasted for making way too many excuses. You're talking about the closer, right?
Yeah, and he's
like crying about how the ball didn't feel right.
Fell. Okay,
Yeah.
I've heard other people complain about it before, so it didn't come across to me as being whiny and bitchy. But maybe if he
the
does
only
this all
reason
the time,
I heard
then...
it is I don't know if he does it all the time. The reason I heard that he was being bitchy is because no other pitcher in that game complained about inconsistencies.
Oh, okay.
And usually when you hear about one pitcher saying, yeah, this ball was inconsistent today, another pitcher is like, yes,
same.
it's also...
Yeah, because they probably do all of them in the same humidor before they bring it out. Okay, well, so maybe that's a crock of shit, but I've heard people complain, like, people have said that the ball in Japan is already sticky and it's already tacky, like, they like it better. I do not understand why we can't use a similar ball. Like,
because we use mud from some river
they
somewhere.
mud it up, and it's like you're dependent, and it's mudded up before the game. They put it in the humidor, they mud it up, and then they bring them all out. And it's like, why is that the process? Maybe if that's how we've been doing it, but I feel like it's the year of our Lord 2024, and like I feel like we have some better technology, and
like every team has their own muddy ball rubber
person.
That was for you, Cliff.
Maven has a
Maven has a famous one where he's like yeah, he's rubbing those balls.
He's rubbing those balls.
Nothing.
And then they have like 13 seconds of silence. Yeah. So they have, every team has their own person. I mean, it's all for both teams. Like, I think it's the home. I don't really understand how it works, but the home team is responsible, I think, for putting, maybe MLB.
But Verlander did say too in his thing that the balls are more consistent now
than they were a few years ago. You're right. I remember him saying that too.
Because he was like, I don't care what ball it is, just make sure it's the same ball.
Yeah, as long as we're all using the same ball, then great. Yeah, and
because that was an issue where people believed that during Judge's year that they were giving him some different ones as well as Pujols to get to 700 and stuff like that.
Yeah, I saw that. Which that sucks. But I just think like if why do they need to use a substance? The ball should be made in a way that they can grip.
They can grip it right. Yeah, I agree.
Grip it right. Like I think there are multiple things that could be changed to help pitchers' safety. I don't see like the way pitchers pitch nowadays is ingrained and will take a major philosophy switch in MLB in order to change that.
Well, real quick, to go to her questions, I think we're answering a lot of the things in her questions.
Oh, okay.
So let me just do it. And it was actually really insightful. And we joked that LG is a baseball dummy, which
I know. When I got the question, I was like, this doesn't sound like a dummy question.
Yeah. I mean, I helped her fill in some like certain things with this, and I'll go into explain which ones I did. But anyway, these are like serious questions she asked. So what can be done to reduce Tommy John issues and reduce the pitcher IL? She didn't know the name Tommy John surgery, but she just knew that they were getting injured. So I told her what that was. But anyway, should they wear supportive braces or will the MLB need to implement speed restraints? And is Tommy John to baseball the same as CTE to football? And she didn't know what CTE, the name CTE, but she knew of like the concussion stuff. And so she made that comparison really quick. And I was like, yeah, I mean, this basically is a very similar, it doesn't have as much long-term mental effects that CTE did.
The benefit to the baseball injury is that it's very measurable now. You don't have to wait for, you don't have to look for symptoms, and you don't have to wait for the person to die in order to actually diagnose it. So they have that, but as far as like the severity of an injury,
it's very, very similar. To answer some of the other questions, I don't think they'll wear a brace. We were talking. No. Do you notice any pitchers even wearing sleeves?
Sleeves, no,
not long sleeves, but like
I know what you mean, like a
sleeves.
Compression sleeve. No, I
don't really notice that either
much, but it's kind of hard to tell sometimes with
because some of them are wearing long
sleeves that are. I mean, they're designed to be compression, only so that they're not baggy and in your way.
Right.
I think, but so no, I haven't noticed that. I don't. I don't see
they would not be able to do the rotations that they need on curveballs and stuff. You need that mobility in your
flexibility
arm, which is probably why they don't wear any type of full, like, real compression sleeve, because it might
restrict it too much.
Might restrict it too much, pitch by pitch.
I mean, if you look, a pitcher's arm, any baseball player's arm has been anatomically changed. I learned this in athletic training courses in college. Like your elbow can come back a lot further than anybody. If you do this to your pitching or your throwing arm and your non-throwing arm, we look like idiots. But like this, your throwing arm will be able to go more horizontal to the plane than your non-throwing arm, and that's because you have certain spaces that have been opened. And yes, and if you look at a major league, I mean, look at any major league pitcher's arm that throws kind of in the traditional style, and right at the furthest back that they are probably perfectly parallel to the ground. And that's because they've been pitching forever and they can do that. And they also have a counterbalance that they can't do this as far back as normal people should do. So you're anatomically changed there. And so you have to be careful about other changes that are made, I guess, too. I mean, they're not going to wear a brace because it has to be flexible, and it's going to get in the way, and they're not going to like it, first of all. And I don't know how protective it would be. It's not the same as a knee, I guess, is what I'm trying to.
Yeah. Like we were talking about this at dinner tonight, that like when you watch NFL and you see the guys on the offensive line and defensive line, most of them are wearing those big Don Joy knee braces, but you can't do the same thing as a pitcher.
Yeah, and their movements are much more gross. Like, you know, they're trying to stop the
it's different.
Yeah,
you don't need to be flexible. In fact, you need to be rigid.
Yeah, exactly. You need to be standing there, and as much keep them back as much as possible. And the pitcher does need to be as flexible in their arm.
Yeah, and we kind of already answered the speed restraints too. No, I mean the MLB is doing the opposite. They're they are encouraging it. One of the things that I think that Verlander mentioned in his video, you can't do a speed restraint. You can't tell someone, you threw too fast. Because again, there are Aroldis Chapmans out there who can just throw with that much heat.
Yeah.
But basically, what he mentioned is implementing rules where you lose your DH, which is the designated hitter. So
I actually when he was talking about this, I kind of like it. Like, you lose the DH at the point that you bring out your pitcher.
If you bring out a relief pitcher before like a certain time frame, which he was saying the third time through a rotation. Like if your starter cannot make it,
them to get through the third. And what he was saying,
which means that they can't pitch as fast to do that. They have to navigate it. They can't just
figure it out.
Throw 98 and hope to get through 4 innings.
Yeah, and he also wasn't bashing the theory, because he was saying like, and I get why the stats say third time around you're not gonna. The batters have a better chance to get you, so you're not incentivized to figure out how to get out of that. You're just let's just bring in someone else.
So
so now your time has shortened. You need to create your own value. So now you're going to throw harder, and
it's all about getting as many outs as you can quickly.
Yeah. And what it's going to take too is the Verlanders, the Coles, and these really cerebral kind of pitchers to, just make it cool, I guess, to pitch again.
And I think like I don't know if I already said this, that the commissioner needs to. If I were commissioner, I would be having those two guys, Cole, Verlander, anybody else who's kind of in that structure of things, like Jacob deGrom, and bring those guys in. Bring in some of your best statisticians that you have working for you. Have the best arm, elbow surgery doctors in the world come in and just have like a full on, like you said, a think tank on like how can we make this better, because it's an epidemic in the league with as many injuries as there been.
Another point that Verlander made too was that obviously it's going to trickle down. And he said, we need to make the change before it trickles down too low into
and it's irreversible.
Leagues, and it's
wait
irreversible.
for way too long. Yeah, because he said that he's seen like was he talking about his son or just in general? Like he's seen like on videos of like 12-year-olds trying to learn how to max out velo, and he's like, I didn't learn that until I got into college. I didn't throw 98 until I got into college.
We all grew up with the philosophy accuracy before power, accuracy before velocity when you're being a pitcher. I mean, I flunked out of being a pitcher at some point because I just didn't have the mental like strength, I guess, to do that. I much preferred reacting at third base, but even I remember that was part of, I mean, that was like 101 of pitching. Accuracy first. I mean, like you want to be able to strike somebody out on a curveball or a drop ball, rise ball, something. I mean, now I'm speaking softball, but like you then to just blow one. But also hitters love, at least at the lower level, like hitters love just a fastball coming in anybody loves a fastball coming in, but like the faster they come in, the harder they go out. And like, if you're just concentrating on throwing it fast, like you're going to get hit from time. And that's why Chapman also, like you made the point last week and reminded me, by the way, like just because Chapman's a strikeout pitcher doesn't mean he doesn't blow saves and blow important saves because, oops, we missed with the fastball and now you've got a nice little meatball. And so anyway, I think pitchers should pitch to their strengths, and we should incentivize
that. Like they,
the 90s to 93 is not a bad. I mean, nowadays it's
like Jamie Moyer is famous for being a very slow pitcher. I mean, I don't even think that he topped over 90 on his fastball, and he pitched until he was 46.
Yeah, and
like starting with a lot of the during that time too.
A lot of like. I mean, I know this is also Garrett Cole, who I think he's more, his arm is just kind of like a whip. So he's more inclined to pitch on higher velocities. But
yeah, he throws like, 97, 98, but he's not pushing to throw 100.
No, but when you see changeups in the changeup, 91 mile an hour changeup, like if
that's some people's fastball. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you're doing that naturally, great. But if you're constantly trying to push there to get there, just, you're going to shorten your season and your career, and you're going to be
and Verlander made a point too that it's a hard line to walk because and really you really should watch his video. I think he explains it a lot better than we do. Obviously he plays the game, but he basically said it's a hard thing because if you can do it, why would you not do it?
And he used this specific example too of they're gonna re-sign they're gonna or call up or re-sign the person who throws really fast but has a 4-point-something ERA. They don't care that this guy.
Oh, did he make that one? I thought that there was another podcast that made that one.
Am I mixing them up? I thought he said.
I know the one you're talking about was some. I thought somebody else said it was that like they will re-sign the guy who has a 4-point-something ERA that throws 98, 99 over the guy who throws 94, 95 who has a 3.2 ERA.
Yeah.
I don't think that was Verlander, but maybe it could have been Verlander on a different thing, but it wasn't during that video.
Maybe he did, I mean, point stands.
But that's been made.
Incentive. Yeah. And so, the other side of that is Michael K brought up a question that I don't know if this was where LG's other question came from, about where'd it go? About the fourth inning.
Yeah, why can't a starter get a win in 4 innings? I think Michael King was not Michael King, Michael K.
Yeah,
was talking about this because he was like, I think the game has changed, so rules should change.
And this was kind of before the Verlander conversation. I think
it was just like a day or two before.
It was like very
Bieber and Strider. Bieber and Strider came up after that, which completely changed the discussion.
Yeah, I mean, so the discussion was, why can't they get a win if they only pitch 4+ innings? Because that's the rules. The rule is you must pitch 5 full innings in order to be considered for a winning, to be the winning pitcher of that game.
Yeah, and she was like, well, how is that fair for the relief pitcher to show up in one inning and get a win?
Exactly. Or one out.
Or one out. Doesn't matter.
The starting pitcher comes out after 4 innings pitched and got 2 outs in the 5th inning. He doesn't have a decision because he didn't go full 5 innings. The relief pitcher comes in. He could just get that 1 out in the 5th inning. And if they win, if the team wins that game, that pitcher gets the winning record for that
if
game.
They kept the lead during the entire game.
Right. And so this is entrance. Right. He didn't give up the lead. I'm just saying, like, he comes in for that 1 out and he gets it. And that team keeps the win or keeps the lead and wins the game. They get the win. So that's
McKay's point was like, well,
that's not fair. Basically,
change it to 4 innings. I mean, I think 4 innings, getting past 4 innings is like getting past 5 innings of before. And so,
and looking at the game today, that is true.
But
now
I was after hearing all that, I was like, well, that might actually have those opposite effects that Verlander was talking about.
Yeah, it's not going to do anything to help incentivize starters to get more length and go through the lineup more than
encouraging them that we'll drop it down for you.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm kind of two sides of the same of that coin, I guess. There, like I see how completely unfair it is that
one out can get you a win, but 4 innings and 2 outs can't.
Weaver has 3 wins because he's come in for when
Stroman or
Rodon didn't go.
Yeah, it would have been Rodon and Nestor. Because Stroman's gone 6. Well, this week, but
previous.
His 2 other starts, he didn't.
So he comes in. I think he's got pitched more than 1 out of those outings, but still, he didn't have to get the win. I think is the point. So
right, and I think in Rodon's previous 2 starts, he was 4.2.
Yeah, I think so. They didn't go full 5. I think Schmidt didn't go a full 5 last time either.
Yeah, I think it was 4-1 or something. Yeah, but same thing. So it definitely very interesting. Conversation how would it
I was totally on the side of that makes sense. There should be no question. Why wouldn't we? And then all of this starts coming up, and Verlander is not even addressing that. But it's like, oh wait, okay.
Well, that would
there's more of a ripple effect than I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
So
I want to close out with one last thing real quick because we have officially made it to Friday.
Yes, and it is Friday.
In the moment,
very irritated and grumpy.
Who's irritated?
But
did you see his eyes, everyone? I mean,
I'm not
it was on video. We all saw it.
Well, I wanted to close out with talking about real quick, and we don't have to go into a long conversation because I know you don't even know what I'm about to bring up because we forgot about it during our pre-potting. Boras, cut by Jordan Montgomery today. Well, yesterday.
Montgomery said, he does not want to do with Boras anymore.
Monty we've talked about it a lot. We talked about it a lot with the Boras 4, which was Snell, Bellinger, Monty, and Chapman. Monty was the last of those 4 to sign. He actually didn't even sign until after a couple days after opening day. And
is that right?
Yeah, he was the last, and I think we already started baseball.
I didn't realize it'd gone into opening day. I mean, Montgomery
it is bad. He actually, I could be wrong there. He might have. I think what I'm thinking of is that we've had. Someone said we've had real MLB games before we've seen Monty get signed, and I think that was actually the Dodgers games. Which was a week earlier. It might have been in between those 2 series. But anyway, he was the last to go, and he was like $75 million or $80 million less than what he wanted. And he
specifically changed to be Boris's client after he was traded to
St. Louis
the Rangers.
Or the Rangers. Yeah.
The Rangers. So once he was traded to the Rangers at the trade deadline last year, he ended up switching
because he wanted that big contract.
To be a Boris client. Yeah. And so, and then he got totally screwed. Uh-oh, we're losing internet again. Oh, it's good. Never mind.
Okay.
Yeah,
But,
I thought that was interesting, and
yeah. I wonder if there's going to be a ripple effect from it, because all four of those guys, even though that Monty was the one who just dropped him and he was the last one to sign, all four of them are in the same boat of they wanted so much money. Boris demanded so much money. They got offered something a little bit less than that.
Yeah,
and they didn't even end up signing for that. They ended up signing for something much, much less. And basically, they're all on 1-year prove-it deals, which is ridiculous for the type of players these guys are. So it'll be interesting as the ripple effect, and I hope that ripple effect, that domino effect, lands on Soto.
Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people are hoping that Soto drops Boris. I don't see that happening. I don't see Boris fumbling that. But hey, it's nice to hope that we wouldn't have to drop $800 million on Soto.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I am hearing it's supposed to be $500 million, but with Boris, he's gonna push that number higher and higher. So
I'm worried about how high that bag will go. But I mean, Soto is certainly worth a lot of money. I just
we'll talk about what we think he's worth, but I definitely think 500 is a reasonable realm. But anyway, now that we're into Friday, thank you guys for happy Friday. Thank you guys for listening through the night. Cliff, thank you for staying up with us as much as late as it was. But anyway, thank you seriously to all the listeners who have listened to us for over an hour and a half again this week. So we definitely appreciate all of you. Please follow us at @DamnYanks _pod on X, Twitter, Threads, Instagram, where Cliff is actually doing a lot more highlight videos and stuff like that this year, which are pretty cool, like edits and stuff like that. So follow those accounts so that you can see that at @DamnYanksPod for Facebook. And then to listen to these podcasts, you're going to want to hit the subscription and notification buttons on either YouTube or Spotify. What'd I say?
No, he's nothing. You said it all perfect.
Yeah, okay. I was just saying, smash that like button.
Smash that like button. Yes.
Smash it.
Yes.
All right.
Thanks for listening, everyone. See ya.
See ya.